And now I'll hand over to Dominique for the presentation.
Awesome. Thank you, Bella. Kia ora, everyone. Thank you so much for coming today. Still keen to hear about what your perception is of if there's doors or wheels. Please do put it in the chat because I think it is a really great topic. But today we are going to speak to you about getting recruitment ready and just opening up the floor to kind of ask any questions that you may have, anything that you think you might be too nervous to ask or really need some advice on your CV or anything like that. Please, we have a section for that today. And I've got some awesome teammates joining me to help us with this presentation. So I'll do some introductions. So first, I'm Dom. I am the Early Careers Talent Advisor here at PwC. I look after the recruitment for graduates, interns, scholarship, and our Ignite apprenticeship program. I've been with the firm since August last year. So I've actually only ever been into the office a couple of times because of lockdowns and all that good stuff with COVID, but have been really lucky that PwC is really great at being virtual. I did a really random lot of study. So I am from Hamilton and I studied radio broadcasting and realized I actually wasn't that good at it. So decided to do a Bachelor of Communications and then kind of had a really random career and kind of fell into grad recruitment and have been lucky to work with some awesome companies. And now I'm at PwC helping people get their first entry point into a really great company like PwC. So what I'm going to do now is hand over to Emily, but I just see she's turned her camera off. Are you still on the call?
Yep, I'm still here.
There we go. Cool.
Refining my technology setup. Kia ora, ko Emily Stevenson toko ingoa. I am a manager here at PwC where I have been for 6 months, so relatively new. But have greatly enjoyed everything thus far. I studied Bachelor of Arts at University of Canterbury. I majored in political science and education. Just my first job out of university was at the Canterbury Earthquake Recovery Authority, based in Christchurch. 5 years later, I moved to Wellington, where I joined the Department of the Prime Minister and Cabinet, where I worked for 5 years and had 10 different roles. I made a bit of a name for myself for job hopping. People would just come up to me and offer me new little projects to work on, which I never realised you could make a career out of. But that's sort of how I got into PwC. Basically, the inability to stay in a job for more than 4 months has served me very well. I helped two of the more notable aspects of my career are that I supported the Prime Minister's office directly in the hours and days following the March 15th terrorism attacks, and that I was employee number 6 of the all of government COVID-19 response team, where I worked for 13 months. So did 13 months on COVID and then joined PwC in September last year. So that's me.
Awesome. Thank you so much for that. And Tilly, I'll hand over to you to introduce yourself.
Malolele. Hello, everybody. That's a really hard act to follow there, Emily. Lots of great experience. My name is Atali and I am a senior analyst within the management consulting team. In terms of my background, I've come from HR and I studied a Bachelor of Commerce at the University of Auckland. I majored in marketing and management and predominantly it was really people focused. So I really liked to, I really wanted to focus on the HR aspect of things and organizational design and engagement and culture. Those are the kind of things that get my wheels turning, as we're speaking about wheels. And so I guess before coming to PwC, and I started PwC recently as well. I started in November last year. Before coming to PwC, I worked at an insurance company for about 8.5 years, doing various different roles. So also a little bit of a job hopper as well. So I had, I think, 7 different roles in my time there. And then I moved to PwC and I made the move really because the purpose resonated with me to build trust in society and solve important problems. And I wanted to be part of that. I wanted to be able to solve those really important problems and make sure that I was adding to society in a really positive and impactful way. So that's the reason that I joined PwC. And another huge aspect as well was the Pacific Village, which I'm an active member of, and so is Pooja, and Pooja's going to talk after me. But the Pacific Village is also a really safe space, which I found to be great, starting at PwC, and something that I really value as well. So that's me.
Awesome, thank you. And yeah, last but not least, Pooja. Oh, you're on mute.
Oh my days. Okay. See, this is what happens when you're not used to all these Zoom calls. Hi everybody, my name is Pooja. I'm not a job hopper or didn't do any interesting degree in uni, but yeah, I went to the University of Auckland, studied the usual Bachelor of Commerce, majoring in accounting and commercial law. Finished that up in November 2019 and rolled straight in as a grad into PwC a week later. Then did an internship, finished in Feb, and then rolled straight in as a grad. So I've been here ever since. It's been a journey, but one that I am so grateful for, and it's such a great place to kick off your career. Wouldn't change anything about my journey. And yeah, like Adeli said, I am part of the Pacific Village. So that's been something so cool to be a part of and see grow over the past 3 years. But yeah, super excited for this event and hope that you guys apply to be grads and interns this time around.
Awesome, thank you. So yeah, we've kind of all touched on it a little bit. At PwC, you know, our purpose and our values are really big to us, and the reason why we do what we do and how we do it. So really wanted to highlight, you know, our purpose is to build trust in society and solve important problems. And that also, you know, is for our clients, but it's also internally. And then with our values, we have 5 core values that we all align to, and is really an important part of how we produce work for our clients and how we work together as a team. So really what I'm trying to get at is taking note of these and doing your research on PwC. We are really passionate about our values. We just finished our PwC challenge, which was all based around our values and giving back. So I would recommend doing your research, making sure that we align to you and you align to us before applying. It is a really big part of, yeah, like I said, what we do, why we do, and how we do it. Cool. So what I thought would be a really interesting part to talk about is our different business areas that we are currently recruiting for graduates and interns. Our applications opened on the 7th of March and they close on the 3rd of April. So please do get your applications in first in, first serve kind of thing. So we recruit on a rolling basis. So as soon as you get it in, you start moving through the process, which I will talk about in the next slide. So yeah, the first business area we have up on the screen is called Deals. Deals is our how do you word that, like our area that we do a lot of our deals in, I guess. We help our clients with outcomes and to create value through business mergers, acquisitions, and restructuring to recover. So inside Deals, we have really cool teams like our sustainability and climate change team. We have our corporate finance, we have a real estate team. So any kind of area in our Deals practice is really exciting. And if you are interested in that, we will have more information on our website, which I will share with you after this. Next, we have our financial advisory services. So this is our space where we have our tax, PwC legal, and our private business team. So if you are interested in, you know, more of our legal side and our tax side, this is the area that you would look to apply for. I think the name kind of makes it a little bit confusing that it sits under financial advisory services, and internally we actually call it FAS. So yeah, please don't be discouraged by the name and definitely do your research off that. So that'll be really great. Then we have risk assurance. So risk assurance, I feel like, again, it kind of gives a scary name, but I promise it's not. It's a really big growing part of our company. And this is the part of the company where we are helping our clients to engage with iwi, hapu, Māori businesses and organizations. So inside risk assurance, we have our technology risk assurance team, we have internal audit, data and analytics, and governance, risk and compliance. I'll hand over to Pooja to speak about audit.
Yes, I made sure I was off mute this time, so I don't butcher that. But yeah, I sit in the financial assurance line of service. Basically what it is, high level, is it's audit and accounting. So probably what a lot of you think PwC do. But I promise PwC does offer a lot of different things. So you'll probably notice that coming out of this call. But essentially what financial assurance do is go into organizations and basically inspect their accounts to determine whether they're reliable, are accurate for these organizations to then release to the public or to their users to be used. So we basically just provide those types of services.
Yeah, cool. Thank you. And last but not least, we have consulting, and we have two great people from consulting on the call. I'll start with Emily. If you could just explain a little bit about your role.
Hi, kia ora. I work in the finance and economics part of the consulting team here at PwC, and I'm very firmly in the policy space. Part of our team does really amazing financial modelling, data analytics, sort of workforce modelling. Unfortunately, those are not my skills. I'm a writer, I'm a policy person, and so I work in more of the strategic advice, policy advice, central government sort of associated things.
Cool. And Tilly, she works in management consulting. So if you would like to speak to that, would be awesome.
Yeah, so I guess with management consulting, we do a lot of client work. So we work with lots of different businesses and organisations across the private and public sector. And what we do is we work on big sort of or large projects and help sort of the organisation at a strategic level, but also at an operational level as well. And so I like to sort of think of us as ultimate sort of problem solvers, because we kind of do a lot of different things. We've currently sort of just aligned a lot of our skill sets together. So I'm actually part of the people and organisation community or home team, and that's really because of my HR background. But there are other sort of areas as well within consulting that you can delve into, and it's really that sort of end-to-end process around actually creating the strategy, the operational sense of things, and then moving that along all the way through to implementation and delivery of those changes within an organisation.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you. And so with consulting, they have the most teams in our graduate intern applications, but I will note that our internships for consulting applications won't be open until July. Just at the moment, we're doing a little bit of a realignment and making our teams awesome, but we just want to make sure we've got it all up to date by the time we go out in July. But we are looking for graduates for consulting, so do please apply if you are interested. Awesome. So I thought I'd talk about the recruitment process and kind of give some tips and tricks on the way to helping you through the process. So first step is why PwC. So going back to our values and our purpose, making sure that we align to you and doing your research on our website. We have just done a refresh of our careers website information about the different teams inside the different business areas that we're recruiting for. So do your research. Make sure it's something that you're really passionate about. We are, like I said, we're really big on our values and purpose. So hopefully we align to you and you can align to us. Once you've figured that out, you come through to the application form. There we ask for your CV and your transcript, and we don't ask for cover letters, which is a really great step for us, because I think we get to learn more about you when we ask you 2 long questions inside the application form. So those questions are mainly based around things that you did outside of your studies. So any clubs you've joined, any volunteering work, you may be helping your church, anything that you do above and beyond your study and in your part-time work, if you've done any of that, any tutoring, just think of things that you've done. We had a candidate come through that was really interested in knitting. And I highlight this every presentation I talk about, because it just shows that they're passionate about something, and we love to see, hobbies and learn a little bit more about you and get a holistic view of you through this process. So have a think about it. When you apply, you will be able to save your submission before fully submitting it. So have a look, get your answer together, and we look forward to reading that. From there, you'll come through to the assessment and video interview. The one-way video interview, I know it's not the most glamorous thing, but please do treat it like it is an interview. This is your chance to, again, think of some examples and maybe align them to our values. Behavioral questions are really big in any sort of interview. So you'll be able to go, Google, search behavioral questions and think of answers when you come into the video interview. What I would recommend also is how you structure your response, we use a method called the STAR method. So again, all that stuff's on Google, so please do research it. So if you do the STAR method, it's situation, so telling what the situation is, what your task in that situation it was, the action that you got from that, and what was the end result. Another thing to point out is, and there's not everything is a success. So if you have some thing that you've had to pivot or you failed at, it's a really good opportunity to talk about what you've learned. So please do think about that when you think of your examples. From there, you come through to the final interview, which is with one of our business leaders for the area that you're going into. What I would recommend is coming with some really great questions for us. We are keen to hear, what you're really interested in. So do some research on our LinkedIn page. We post on there, I think, almost every day. So we talk about stuff that we're doing in the firm and things that we're a part of. So anything that interests you, bring questions like that to that interview. And then from there, you come through to the outcome. If you are successful, you'll get an offer and a contract. And if you are unsuccessful, we will offer you some feedback at that stage to help you grow and learn, and definitely make this process, a really good learning experience for you. And then it's welcome to PwC. Awesome. All right. So we're going to move through to a Kahoot. This is where you'll be able to ask us questions through the Kahoot. We've just got to, I promise it's not a test. You're not going to be marked on this. So I'll just move over to that screen. Can you please let me know, can you still see my screen? Cool. Yeah. So if you could just join the Kahoot. So yeah, we're going to ask 2 questions. One question is, when you think of PwC, what one word comes to mind? And then the second question is an open-ended question. So if you have any questions for us, you'll be able to put it into the Kahoot. Can we still see? Oh, yeah, okay, cool. I just didn't think we could see the screen. So yeah, I'll give us like 30 seconds. And then if you don't join the Kahoot but want to ask questions, feel free to put it in the chat as well. Cool. I'll give it 20 more seconds, and then we'll move through to the first question. Cool. All right, we'll move through now. Awesome. So when you think of PwC, what one word comes to mind? It's a little bit of a research piece for us as well. So when you think of PwC, what one word do you think of? It might be, I actually don't want to give you words, actually, you come up with the words. But yeah, anything that comes to mind. Again, it's all anonymous, so we won't see who's said what. So please, yeah, give us your honest feedback. And I feel like I know what the top word's going to be, but I will wait till we have finished going through this. This is when you need the elevator music. I think Kahoot has music, but I don't know if we're allowed to play it. PwC is not allowed to play it. Awesome. We've got 15 more seconds. Cool. All right. And I think the biggest one's going to be accounting. Also, so pretty much every time we do these presentations, accounting is always the biggest word that comes up in the word cloud. And to be honest, when I first joined PwC, I genuinely thought that's all PwC did. So I completely understand, but hopefully today we've proven to you that we're more than just accounting. We definitely have elements of accounting that's still definitely a priority for us, but especially with our consulting area, we've got so many different areas you can join. And yeah, just thought that was a really good place to point this out. Pooja, is there anything on the screen that you see that's popping out to you that you find interesting?
I love that diverse work word. I mean, it's 2 words, but like you could put it as one. I think it's real cool because like you said, I think a lot of people think all we do is accounting, but in PwC there's so many different things available. And then like not even that, but you come across people who have done so many diverse things, and then their backgrounds are just completely different to where they're currently sitting now. So I think that's quite cool. And not even just internally, but externally get a lot of experience that's quite different. So I love that word.
Yeah, awesome. Emily, any words that pop out for you?
Kia ora. Yeah, I think the connectedness is something that I probably every time I work on a different piece of work here at PwC or even across government, there's no piece of work that I've ever done in my entire career that is solely limited to one government department or one area of expertise. So at the moment I'm working for a government client. It's policy, it's strategy, it's relationship management, it's finance and a bit of economics, it's contract management, it's a bit of legal stuff in there. We're also bringing in sort of like HR functions and sort of like thinking about how you might, structure your team or what capabilities they might need. So, and I think, a lot of PwC work crosses teams, and a lot of the teams work really closely together, which I think is not only great on a personal level because it keeps things really interesting, but I also think that, it's no use obviously there is always a place for someone who's a real expert in one little niche area of something, but I think it does really speak to how everything is so interconnected in this world.
Yeah, awesome. And Natalie, is there anything that's popping out to you on the screen?
Yeah, I think when I see, there's it says big and then there's big four. And I think they obviously are the same sort of concept, but I think that's like a big one because big, I've said big like 3 times in that sentence. But I think when I think about that, it can be really overwhelming thinking about somewhere like PwC or any of the big fours, and I think that's a real feeling for a lot of people, even for myself. Not being a grad, but and being a seasoned professional, but I mean as a grad it's probably even scarier because it's your first place of work. So I think it's just going. That's a natural feeling to think that it's a big place. But what I've really appreciated coming into PwC is that there is so much support. So it doesn't matter where you end up in the firm, everyone is so willing to help and really supportive. And I think that's one of the lessons that I've learned along the way is that and that community sort of feel kind of comes in with that as well.
Yeah, I agree. And yeah, I like the word trust as well. It's definitely part of our obviously our purpose, but we build trust with each other and build trust with our clients. So it's a really big thing. And I think that kind of falls with policy, and you've kind of really summed us up really nicely. It's good to see consulting in there as well. And maybe it's like the second biggest word, but yeah, definitely trying to change the narrative of the big four, especially PwC, that we're more than just accounting. So yeah, that's really awesome. Thanks, guys. So next step is open-ended questions. So this is your opportunity to ask us questions anonymously through the Kahoot. So if you wanted to learn more about our culture, anything that we do inside the building, what we enjoy most about work, this is your opportunity to ask us. If there's anything specific about recruitment or wanting CV tips or tricks, please definitely put them through to us and we'll happily answer the questions. We definitely know that you guys have got a lot of things going on right now, especially with all the different businesses coming to talk to you and starting uni and doing the recruitment process. So yeah, we really appreciate any time or questions you have for us. Would be awesome. A question that we typically get though is always what's like fun stuff that you do inside PwC, and while we wait for the questions to come through, I thought I'd like to speak to some of the fun stuff. Like recently we did our Shine group, which is our LGBTQ plus community inside PwC, hosted a daily quiz, and I got really top answers, but I didn't win the spot prize, which I was gutted about. But it was really cool to see the team, and they kind of made work a little bit more fun. And I thought before starting PwC that we probably wouldn't have things like that. So it was really cool to have that like as a thing that we could do. So, oh, cool. All right, the questions are here. So how would you describe the general culture of the organization? I might hand over to Pooja and see you answer and see if anyone's got anything else to add after.
Cool culture. honestly, the first word that comes to mind is inclusive. PwC is like, it's such an inclusive space, and there's so many different people that you come across, not just cultural background, but just what they've studied, where they've worked. And so I feel like I'm so lucky to have come into a workplace where everyone's just so inclusive of one another and just support each other through everything. So the culture is super inclusive, super supportive. Also, as Adeli mentioned, we have different subgroups that we are part of as well. So like the Pacific Village. I'm also half Indian, so with the Indian community as well. And it's just so cool to see different groups of people come together, but also showcase their culture throughout the workplace. So yeah, it's I reckon it's the best culture I've ever seen in any organization that I've worked in. And it honestly speaks volumes, because the people that work there is amazing. So yeah, that's what I'll say about culture.
Yeah, Emily, do you have anything to add?
So obviously I'm relatively new to PwC and I joined mid-career. I have found it an incredibly welcoming environment, which shouldn't have surprised me as much as it did, but it has really struck me that people are incredibly welcoming, incredibly kind. Everyone's very ambitious and, wants to do well and work hard. But I think it really is quite remarkable that everyone is so supportive of each other. I've never felt like I couldn't ask a dumb question or, bother somebody or pick up the phone or text or email or something. Everyone has been just unbelievably helpful and kind. And it really feels like we're all working towards the same goals.
Yeah, I agree. Atali, anything from you?
Yeah, just kind of mirroring what everyone else has said. I guess one of the other points around culture is that it's PwC has so much knowledge. Like, we've got so much information, so much knowledge, different ways of doing things, lots of learning. So there is a huge element of a learning culture there. And each person kind of takes control of their own journey in terms of where they want to go within PwC. But just to Emily's point, yeah, I think everyone has been so kind, and I think it's a really good employer in terms of how they look after you as well. One example is I had COVID, so was in isolation for sort of the 10 days with my family. And yeah, they gave me a call. They sort of checked up on me, and then I received a sort of a care package as well, which I wasn't expecting. So there's all these really wonderful little gifts that we get as well to really show that they do appreciate us. So I think it's all those small things that count too.
Yeah, agreed. It sounds really fluffy, but honestly, the people make this place so much better than expected. And even like for me, the opportunity to be able to work with the awesome people I'm talking with now, I'm so lucky. And no one's like, I guess it's like the idea of it being intimidating is that whole factor's gone, because everyone's so nice and wants to help and are really keen to give back, and like, spending their times doing presentations like this to the students to make sure that, you guys get a real good picture of what we actually do and how we do it and how it's run at PwC is really awesome. So yeah, a really great place to work. Sounds fluffy, but it truly is. All right, next question is, do you work internationally? So PwC is obviously a part of a huge global network, but at this stage with COVID and stuff, obviously restrictions have happened, but there are opportunities in different parts of the business to be able to work internationally. And I think PwC really supports, if you are looking to move to a different country, you'll be able to, as long as you're open and transparent with your managers and your coaching partners and things like that, you'll be able to kind of work something out. And in our deals team, we have our Edge program, which if you are a graduate, you become a part of the deals network, and there are definitely opportunities there to hopefully go overseas now that we're starting to be a little bit more normal again with our restrictions and things like that. But yeah, just at the moment with COVID, it's a little bit too hard. What sort of policy work do you advise on? I feel like this is aimed at Emily. So Emily, are you able to speak to that?
Yeah, I can answer that one. So COVID, a few people from PwC were involved in COVID work. So that was everything from sort of organisational arrangements and sort of strategic advice right through to sort of working at the Ministry of Health and supporting their kaupapa as well on the COVID one. That was a really big thing. What else has there been? I'm currently working at Te Puni Corporate, which is the Ministry of Maori Development, just doing a bit of work for them around the whānau order program, which is one of the really huge flagship policies of government. I'm just trying to think, I've only been here a short amount of time, just trying to think what some of the other people in the team have worked on. For the Wellington Finance and Economics team, the policy work is very much central government, so a lot of regulatory services. There's a person in our team who is sort of the regulatory services guru, so that's sort of things like whakatahi, internal affairs run a lot of regulatory services, stuff like that. So it's sort of just whatever our clients want and whatever they approach us about.
Yeah, awesome. Thank you. And the last question is, do you want people with social work backgrounds? So yeah, like we've been saying today, we have a lot of opportunities for different parts of our business. And what I'd recommend you do is look at our careers website. I'm just going to post a link in the chat now. Hopefully everyone can see that. I posted 2 links. So one's to our general early careers website, and then the next one is about our business areas. So looking through that to see where you would feel most comfortable, but there's definitely opportunities for people of different study backgrounds to join us. Yeah, please.
I know that Haora is a large part of the consulting practice, so that's sort of around wellness, and I know a lot of people have either clinical or policy backgrounds in the health sector, so I feel like that would be sort of very relevant. That's something you're specifically wanting to pursue.
Yes, definitely.
I was just going to mention as well, probably with with a social work background, I think you're going to have lots of transferable skills, and within consulting there's multiple areas that you can get into that I think your skills would be useful. I mean, people is a big part of the sort of project that we work on, so I think it's definitely worth considering.
Yeah, definitely. Thank you. All right, so does PwC Workplace have a good work-life balance? Yes, I think it does. I mean, it always is, what do they say, peaks and troughs. So, we go really busy periods, and there are times that, sometimes we are working overtime, but then there's days where I have a doctor's appointment right in the middle of the day. And as long as I'm open and transparent with my manager, I am able to take time off to go do that. PwC is really flexible. For example, I live in Hamilton, but I work out of the Auckland office, and PwC was really flexible with about, this was obviously before all the lockdown stuff, that I would be able to just travel up, a couple of days a week if I wanted to work in the office there. They also have an office here in Hamilton, so I'm very lucky that I'm spoilt for choice of where I'm able to work. Ateli, do you have anything to add to that?
I think you've given a really good run around it, and I think just to be mindful that working in PwC, there is a lot of autonomy, so you do have the ability to sort of manage your day. You are treated as an adult, and so like you would at university. I guess it's just making sure that you're still keeping on top of your work and stuff as well. So it's just a matter of a matter of actually managing it properly. But you do have the ability to have good work-life balance.
Yeah. Pooja, Emily, do you have anything to add, or have we covered it?
I think you have covered it off quite well. I'll probably just add that communication piece as well is really key. I think just being super transparent. If you have commitments that kind of fall in a busy period that you really need to attend to, people are super understanding. So just communicate that. And yeah.
Yeah, cool. Awesome, thank you. What's the typical learning curve? How to answer that question? I guess we all have such different roles, but PwC is really about your personal development as well. So recently I have gained my certificate in agile training, which is a really great part of the company that we are trying to move to being more agile. But I guess, I don't know if I'm answering that correctly. Maybe Pooja, because you've recently been a grad, what was the learnings like for you when you first started?
I think I wouldn't say it's a curve. It's probably more of a straight line upwards. You kind of, as soon as you step in, you get pulled into work that you probably didn't expect to, but like everyone has said, everyone's super supportive, and kind of every job you're on, you're always learning something new. So whether or not you're doing the same exact area, there's always something different with every single client. So you're always learning something different on every single job. And then just also as well, like Dom said, personal growth. So like currently I'm doing my CA, which is postgrad on top of working full time, and PwC has been super supportive around providing enough study time around there and just ensuring that you can meet both kind of work-life balances. So yeah, it's a ever-growing type of learning experience.
Yeah, and Emily, I guess you were a lateral hire, but what was the learning like for you when you first started at PwC?
Yeah, I think it certainly matched my skills and experiences, I think, in terms of the types of work I was put onto straight away and the type of work I'm doing now. So I felt like, sort of very relatively comfortable in that. It's definitely pushed me in some areas. Definitely don't have a finance or economics background, unlike literally everyone I've surrounded by, sort of like trying to just put numbers together correctly, not look like an idiot. But I do have to say that, so I'm currently working with a grad who's just arrived last month, and on a project that I'm on at the moment, I have to say I've been like super impressed by sort of like those research skills, willingness to give anything a go, sort of be able to think creatively about an issue, or speak up and ask questions, admit when she doesn't know something, or where there's just something's a bit fuzzy. So I think that those types of things will serve you really well no matter what sort of work you're coming into.
Yeah, I think you learn a lot more on the job than you realize. And I honestly, the first 3 months you always feel a bit out of place because I'm a real know-it-all, so not being able to know it all yet freaks me out. But honestly, once you pass that barrier, you start to feel more comfortable, and like the team's there to support you, and you have buddies and you have coaches, and yeah, you're never alone. So it's great. And we have like the typical learning that we all have to do, which is our compliance training and things like that, making sure that we're doing the right thing. And it's a really good refresher. We have them, I think we refresh every year on that stuff. So, and the company's really open to, if you are wanting to do something outside of work that, you're interested in, definitely being transparent and open with your manager and speaking to them about it, and they can help you with your, personal development and growth. It's really, really great. Awesome. Majoring in finance and economics and being interested in such thing as investment banking, which would be the best department to apply for? There's so many different areas I think you'd benefit from, but maybe audit. Do you think, Pooja, that would be the?
Yeah, I think more specifically the red zone. So for those who don't know, our financial assurance team split out into 2 different zones. So we have aqua zone and then red zone. So basically aqua deals with audits for any retail company, and then red zone deals with investment banking, insurance, stuff like that. So I think that is the first thing that comes to mind from that question, would be the way to go, financial assurance.
Yeah, I would, definitely look on our website, the link's in the chat. But yeah, I would say audit would be the first start, and that's where financial assurance sits under. So yeah, definitely have a look at that. Here's a good question. What are some of the values and characteristics that would be ideal for you and a candidate? So for us, we are wanting to learn more about you, and I keep talking about, mentioning your hobbies and anything you've done outside of study. But for us, we're really keen to see people that are motivated, that live our values already before joining. So again, make sure you're using the values in your application and your CV, and showing us how you align to them is really, really great. I think also being resilient, which I can say all of us are because of all the weird things we've been through for the last 2 years, definitely have proven that we've all kind of been able to flip into this virtual world. So being resilient is a massive thing. We're forever changing at PwC and growing and learning, and we're all on the journey to, definitely with sustainability and things like that. So I would say if you're keen interest, motivated and resilient, you'll be a great candidate, and definitely using our values to talk about yourself is a great start. What is the GPA cutoff? Is there a case study interview for non-consulting roles, and how many questions will there be in the video interview? So the GPA cutoff, it's different for different business areas, but what I would want to say about GPA is, yes, you still have to give us your transcript. And I know it's very old school, but at this stage, we're still running through the process of how we used to run it. What I would say is GPA is only a small component of your application. So please, if you think you don't have a high GPA and you're scared that you won't get through, please do try. It's like I said, it's a small component of the big picture of you. So please do apply. In regards to a case study, at this stage, we are not doing any case studies. Like I said, the process is that you do the assessment and the video interview. The assessment is psychometric testing. So I would recommend going out onto Google, and they'll do some practice ones before you go into our one, just to make yourself feel comfortable and, you know, give yourself a good head start on that. And then how many questions will there be in the video interview? The video interview, we have 4 questions, and they're all behavioral based questions. So definitely look online to, you know, I think you can literally Google behavioral questions and you'll be able to see some of them. If anything starts with like, tell us about a time, or talk about a challenge and things like that. I can't give you too much details, but definitely look that up and do some research and formulate your answers, base them on our values, and really structure them where we get to see the full situation and what the result was. Yeah, cool. Hopefully I've answered all of that for you. But yeah, what I'd say is Google it. Google behavioral, Google psychometric testing, and do some practice stuff before you go into it. Awesome. Any CV tips? What kind of things do interviewers want to see? So just based off like everything I've just said, we're really keen to learn more about you. So anything you've done at a university, or anything apart from your studies. So if you've worked part-time, a big recommendation is to put that stuff on your CV. A lot of candidates I've had come through have been like, didn't want to put that they worked at McDonald's or whatever. We love to see it, because it means that your people skills have developed and that you've actually had to deal with probably some really intense situations. So it means that you're really good at under pressure. So it's a real highlight to us when we see that stuff. Even if you've done some unpaid work, put it on your CV. Anything you've been a part of, clubs, what else is at university, like sports clubs. Another thing is people don't put their high school stuff on there, which I understand. I've only recently just got rid of my high school information, even though I'm like 12 years out of high school. But for us, if you did some great things in high school, another great piece to talk about. And as you move through your career, you'll start to take that stuff off, like I have. So what I'd recommend is, if you were sports captain or a head girl or anything like that, put that stuff onto your CV. And it's a really great talking point for us, which is really good. And yeah, just be open and transparent with us. If you've had a rough year with GPA, but you've brought it back, talk about what's happened. We fully understand that COVID has had such a big effect on all of us. And it's a really understanding time. So if you've had to stop study and work part-time or anything like that, tell us in your long answers when your application form, and then even using examples from that in your video interview would be really great. And then last question is, what will be the successful candidate PwC is looking for? Yeah, so pretty much everything I've kind of said. So anyone that's really motivated and passionate, keen to solve important problems, plug for the purpose, and yeah, anyone that lives and breathes our values like we do, we're really keen to see it. So if you have any more questions or anything, I've put an email address into our chat, but also if you want to, while we're still going through this, please do chat message, and I'm happy to answer questions as well. But yeah, I think we'll move back to the presentation if that comes up. Great, there we go. Awesome. So I'm going to wrap up the call now, but if you have questions or want to stay on a little bit longer, I'm happy to stay on after this. But yeah, we have a Keep in Touch portal. So if you are interested in staying in touch with us, please do sign up. Just want to give a shout out to the QR codes. It's in a real big resurgence since COVID, which is really awesome. So please do sign up if you want to keep in touch with applications opening. Once we go back to normal, we're keen to do some office tours. So we have a really great office in Christchurch, and we have a really great office in Auckland. So looking to do some office tours once we are allowed to be back in some sort of normal alert level. So yeah, please do keep in touch with us. And then the final page is just saying applications are now open, and we look forward to seeing your application. And oh, actually, sorry, the chat's got 2 questions come through. Oh, and sorry, I just had a question about interns, so I'll quickly just ask that. How many interns are you looking for altogether? So this year we are looking for, I think it's 100 interns. So please do apply, and that's across all of our regions. So we have offices in Auckland, Hamilton, Wellington, Hawke's Bay, Christchurch, and Otago. So please do look to apply for one of those. Yeah, awesome. All right. Well, if you don't have any more questions, I just will sign off and say thank you so much for listening today. Really appreciate your time. And thanks to the team at PwC for helping out. And we look forward to seeing your applications.
Thank you, Dominique. And yeah, a great presentation. Thanks everyone for coming.
Thank you.